and that federal commissioner was appointed by the president. The commissioner was paid $10 to send the slave back to slavery and $5 to free the slave. So that gives you a little bit of idea how the system was slanted. Part of that new law also involved the imposition of a fine of $1,000 to anybody caught involved in this fugitive slave or Underground Railroad activity. That's a lot of money. And to give you a feel for how much money that was in 1851, this house was probably worth $2,000 then. And it was brand new back then. It was built in 1848. So that's about $100,000 in rough numbers today. So that's a lot of money. That's why most places around on the Underground Railroad, there's no real evidence of that. So what happened is this fellow Minkins was taken to the federal courthouse under the new law. He was going to be adjudicated by the federal commissioner, and they had a noontime recess to go to lunch. During the recess, a number of free blacks in Boston, probably members of that vigilance society, went into the courthouse, forced open the doors, overpowered the guards, grabbed Mr. Minkins, took him into the streets of Boston, spirited him away to probably Watertown. From Watertown, he went to Concord, Massachusetts, to the home of Anne and Francis Bigelow, who, by the way, lived just down the street from Henry David Thoreau, who heard him actually come in to Concord late at night on the 15th of February, 1851. And then from there, Mr. Bigelow took him here, right to this room. So 168 years ago to the day, early in the morning, Shadrach Minkins arrived here. I submit, yeah, I do too. So it just so happened that it was a warm, rainy, muddy day that weekend in Leominster. And Mrs. Drake, one of the things she did, she was having an anti-slavery fair. And that involved bringing in speakers and having them speak to the people and try to get people on board with the abolition movement. There were some famous people in town. One of them was James Buffum, who was a famous abolitionist. Later on that weekend, Wendell Phillips came to town, and Judge Thomas Richardson was here. Mr. Buffum, it is said that Mr. Buffum and Mr. Richardson, Judge Richardson, were in this parlor when Mr. Minkins came. Now, what's fascinating about Judge Richardson is everybody's probably heard of John Brown, and you remember that John Brown massacred pro-slavery people out in Kansas and then fled. And when he fled in 1859 from Kansas, he came to Boston to hide. Who did he hide with? He hid with Thomas Richardson, Judge Thomas Richardson, in his home. So these were some pretty important people.